So how did you come out with, how you want to help people within the marketing space?
Yeah. It is really interesting because even though obviously I had a lot of experience, I had the same problem when I started
Hmm.
business. I'm like, okay, well, I've got experience in all sorts of marketing. And I'd been, for the last 6 years of my corporate life, I'd been head of the department. So I'd been, not really doing the doing. I'd been in the strategic space. And I was sitting there thinking, well, I could do so many things. I can help them with their website. I can, and I did start
Yep.
playing around with different offerings and trying to figure it out. And it wasn't until I took that step back and realized that, I could sell people these services, but if it wasn't really my if it wasn't that, like, I wasn't giving the top value that I felt that they could get, it was doing them a disservice and me as well. And it wasn't what I loved. And so I thought, well, I actually really loved the strategic side. Like, I loved having a team. I would, coach my team. And I was like, well, maybe I could do that as a business. I can actually coach people. And I wanted to work online because I started my business the same week I had my second baby. Literally was in the hospital.
The same
And
week. Really?
yeah, I was very motivated to get it going while I was on maternity leave.
Yeah.
Um, and I knew that I needed flexibility. I wanted to be able to work from home. Everything just made me, when I realized what it was that I wanted, I figured out, well, I've got to then niche down and go into coaching. And it's not just about any type of marketing. While I help my clients with all of it, I don't want to be the expert on Instagram. I don't want to be the expert on email. I know a lot about all of it, but I'm not the expert on any of it. So where my expertise is really in aligning that strategy behind the scenes together, stuff that you don't see. Who is it that
Mm.
you're targeting? What is it that you specialize in and want to be known for? And why you? Like, what's your differentiation? The messaging, aligning those pieces, that's where the gold is in marketing. And a lot of people skip over it and go straight to the tactics, the stuff that they see people doing, going like, oh, I need to do this, or I need to start an Instagram account, I need to get my brand done, I need a logo. Yeah, like, that's all great, but it won't work as well if you haven't done the strategy piece up front. And it's not
Mm.
just for new businesses. I work with clients who've been in business 20 years. We've got to be revisiting our strategy the whole time. So I'm 5 years, or almost about to hit 5 years in, and I can't tell you how many times I've revised, who really is my target, my ideal customer. I'm always refining it and challenging myself on it, and actually canceling some people out and going, well, no, not them, not them. Like, I really want to tighten it in and get more specific if possible. And the same with how I'm doing my messaging. Like, I'm always looking at that, because the better we can have these pieces connected and aligned and working, so that what I offer in my service is so exactly what my ideal customer wants, and it's being delivered in the way that they need, and I'm talking to them in the words that really resonate with them. When you're doing that, you can choose whatever marketing tactics you want. Like, they'll all work. I've had clients that literally, once
Yeah.
they've defined their niche properly, they've actually just put it out on their social media. They're getting inquiries. They'll like book 5 clients and go, what's happened? I'm like, you just got specific, and people suddenly realize that
Mm.
you were the one for them. Like, it's not that hard. It is hard sometimes to decide what it is, and that's what I help them do. But once you've got that, the marketing side's really easy. It can be so much easier. So
Yeah. Yeah. I love that when you see people kind of just go with the niches they're choosing, and maybe they don't even have a website, they don't do
mm,
emails, they just maybe they just decide to, I'm just going to show up on Instagram, that's what I'm going to do, and
hmm
they are killing it,
yeah,
just because they have figured out who they want to help, and most importantly they have their messaging obviously dialed down and their offering.
yeah.
So that is also a huge piece, like you said, having those things lined up
Mm.
with whatever it is that you feel like this is the thing that I want to do.
Yeah,
Because, like we talked about, if you don't do that, you're not going to be showing up in the right way. So
yeah,
you don't really need all the fluffy stuff that people talk about. You just need to work on this foundational piece, and then everything else will kind of come along.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes it does take a bit of trying something on to see how it fits. Like
Yeah.
you might go into a shop and try on some different pairs of jeans. I think buying jeans is so hard. There's, you know, trying to find the right pair with exactly the right fit. It's a bit like that with your niche, especially
Yeah.
when you're multi-talented, and I work with a lot of people who are in, been in the same space as me in marketing. They're like copywriters, web designers, graphic designers, lots of that style, and in services. And we've worked in often so many different companies and different industries, different sizes. And you're like, oh, but I can help anyone. It's like, you can, because every business out there needs marketing. But who do you best fit with? Like, who do
Hmm.
you really understand their space, and who do you most want to work with because you just love their type of business and how they like to work as well? Like, there's so many aspects to it that can get into. And once you've found that, it just makes life so much easier because you know
Yeah.
exactly where they are, what they're frustrated with, what they're wanting to achieve, and you can talk to them on that specific level. But yeah, it can take a bit of like trying it on. Like, does this fit? How does that feel? Or, and you'll know when you've got the right one because you're like, oh, that's it. I've totally just
Hmm.
nailed it. And when you've gone niche enough is what I tell my
Yeah.
clients. Yeah.
No, yeah, and that's so true because you will definitely feel that shift of energy
Mm.
within you when you finally start talking about the things that you actually do love. Everything kind of changes within you.
Yeah.
So you'll know.
Totally.
Even
Yeah.
though it's hard to kind of get to that point, but yeah, once you
Mm.
get there, you'll know.
Yeah. And it's just that clarity. I think it we we don't really talk enough about it, and people say clarity and it's a bit of a buzzword, but like when you're
Yeah.
absolutely clear on who it is that you're trying to attract, you don't have 50 million questions or, oh, if I put that out, that someone else might not like it, or it's not, you know, I need to adjust it so that it's relevant to everybody. All of these things that are really stopping you from speaking clearly, from getting out and doing what you need to do, they go away because
Hmm.
you're so dialed in to who you're talking to. You don't really care about everyone else. Like, they're not there for you. You can leave them for someone else to worry about. So,
Yeah,
mm,
exactly. And I think it's important to kind of express that again, just get started with this, get started with your messaging, just get it out there, test it, try it on,
mhm.
see how it fits, like you said. And it will change and you will evolve and, things will be different a year from now. But the most important thing is that you kind of get started with this and just
Yes.
let it go with the flow, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
That's such a good point, actually. And it's something that a lot of people tell me is one of the biggest barriers that they have is they think that they're putting themselves in a box and it's going to be
Hmm.
locked in. Like, oh, I don't want to put myself in that box
I
because it
can't
means I'm going to
change
miss
ever
out on
again.
everything else. And,
Yeah.
and then that's what I'm going to be known as. And I say to them, guys, like, it's not etched in stone. You can change it if you want to. But, putting yourself in a box, it doesn't mean that you've got less opportunities. It actually means that you've got more opportunity to be seen because you're specific. You're saying something that someone actually wants. I've got a client who, she was a web designer and she's like, oh, I love working with so many different businesses. And, we've gone through a few iterations of her niching down, and she's suddenly decided in the last month, she's like, I know exactly what I want to do. I want to work with Shopify owners in this industry space because that's what I really relate to and resonate with. And she's like, I just feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders because
Hmm.
I'm not trying to I'm not trying to attract WordPress business owners, and she knows she's talking to Shopify. She can still decide to work with someone with a WordPress site if she wants to. And I keep saying to them, it won't mean
Absolutely.
that that's the only person who comes knocking. You'll still get the peripheral. You'll get a broader spectrum of people still coming to you, and you can choose. You could say, yeah, I will take that piece of work, or sorry, I'll refer you on to someone who's better suited to you. But you're then
Hmm.
in the driving seat. You're not in the back seat of of your business car anymore, as a passenger going along for this ride and wondering what's going to turn up. You're actually in the driver's seat making the decisions and leading and being in control and saying, well, this is who I'm here for. And you can then choose if you want to work with someone who's maybe outside of that scope, because they do still come along, and that's no one
Yeah.
believes me, but they do.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, yeah, even though if you market yourself as a Shopify person, I mean, you're
Mm.
still gonna get people asking, well, can you help with WordPress as well,
Yeah,
or how's that? And then you, yeah, like I said, you can make that decision whether you want to or not. Yeah,
yeah,
love that.
yeah.